We are, and I have said from the very beginning, we are a part of a coalition, of higher dimensional beings, and there are many, many identification points that could be named. They do not like us to name them
Well, they
because
don't.
we limit it. We get stuck. I taught on this in the new human class this morning. We get kind of not stuck, but we spend a little too much energy and engagement in a certain area of specific identification. And we're moving too rapidly right now. 10 years ago, absolutely. Stay all you want in that alignment and learn all you can of that one space of understanding. Now we're moving so rapidly, everybody's like, all the beings, all the higher dimensional beings, this is my own interpretation. I want yours as well. But they're all like kind of saying, just put your shoes on, just put your hat on and keep moving. Like we don't have time. Like you're in too much of a rapid expansion of consciousness for these specific past life spaces or other soul spaces or lineages or connection points. You can absolutely 100% love them, respect them, and connect in and allow. Absolutely, that's what we're doing. We're just not staying in any one particular spot because we're in motion. Thank you, Holy One, for being in this space. Thank you,
Thank
thank you,
you.
thank you. Oh, I'm so grateful to be this space with you. It's so nice to have time with you. I love our time together.
I know, I do too. I wish we were like neighbors.
I know. That would be fantastic. We could hang out and have coffee and sit outside and go to the beach or whatever else, that would be lovely. Well, who knows? Who knows, right?
You never know what the universe has in store.
I'm open. So, what's going on in your world?
Just very, very, very busy.
Yeah.
Um, all good things. I'm trying to make the transition from leaving working at the hospital. The new healing center is just beautiful,
Oh, that's so awesome.
really, really nice. And, I'm just very busy with, the energy work,
I love
which is,
that.
and, and as you were saying today, in the higher mind class, there's no, there's no exhaustion.
Mm,
It's just like an elation
yeah.
as you're doing it. And so many people will say, "Oh, you must get so tired. Aren't you tired?" And
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, because it's just such a strong
Mm,
connection with source, with our teams, with their teams, that the words honestly can't even just describe it, human words, because it's almost like an elation. You're
yeah.
being lifted up. And then you just have that sense of peace and calm and joy filling, the human vessel.
I
Um,
love that. Yeah, I agree completely. It's exhilarating to me,
yeah.
not exhausting. It's exhilarating. And um, that concept of being a conduit, a bridge, of that connection that's happening. You think about even like, and this is so simplistic, but we'll just allow, you think about like a water pipe and the water flowing through the pipe to wherever it's going.
Right.
And when, you turn the water off or whatever, that pipe is just so clean and fresh because it's
Mhm,
had that
mhm,
water flowing through it. And I feel like sometimes, when I get done with a client or a course space or a class or a Zoom call, whatever it is, that sensation or knowing or both of that connection point I've held and that energy flowing through,
yeah.
uh, it's a definite benefit to the being.
Mhm, mhm.
And that makes a lot of sense though, because one of the questions on the AQE Foundations, the first course that we offer, and you teach now too, don't you? Yes.
Mhm, mhm.
So AQE Foundations, a course space about a cosmic quantum energy. One of the questions on the eval is, does doing or facilitating a cosmic quantum energy drain you?
Yeah, yeah,
And that's what we're talking about,
we're talking about.
And the thing is though, I get why we have to ask that question because there's the old program
Yeah,
available in human history for light workers, for energy healers, for anybody doing, hands-on holistic um, medical space of like energy movement and healing, that you're giving your energy to heal the space or the
yeah,
person, and it drains you, and that's an available program timeline belief structure that is there in the human collective. But what we do in a cosmic quantum energy, Deborah's talking about, is the understanding of being that connection point of the divine that's flowing, and it's just running like through us,
yeah.
so it's a very different space of energy work. It really is a
And
higher dimensional.
yeah, it's very different. I feel almost as if when I'm holding a session, whether it's in person or through the quantum consciousness to consciousness, I feel as if we're like a trance channel. We're not
Mhm.
allowing anything to enter us, but we're bridging that
Yeah,
field
yeah, that's
and
a
we're
good way to put
allowing
it.
that information to flow to us
Hmm.
for the person. Um,
Yes.
s- so we're raising our vibration. I think the connection that we make raises our vibration. I think then we raise it up even higher. And often during a session, I feel as if I'm levitating because it's just like, whoo.
I know. I had to start lying down for the session spaces because my body needed to be
Yeah,
completely able to just drop and let go. Um, and that happened years ago. But yeah, I totally get that, levitating, and I'll feel like I'm floating,
yeah,
swaying. And I always convey it to them though, because the teachings that we teach in Acasma is always, if we're feeling it as the facilitator, it is connected to them feeling it as the
yeah,
recipient. And so I'll say, you might have felt like you went out of body or you were floating or swaying, or maybe you fell asleep, because for some people that's the way that they experience it. But there's no wrong way to do it. But yeah, I will register it like that as well.
yeah.
It's incredibly beautiful.
And it's fun.
It
It's
is.
fun
And it's
because
fun.
every session is different. And I have, as I'm sure you do, people that the same, many people are the same and they're coming monthly or bi-monthly. There may be certain themes, but every session is different and it truly meets everybody where they are
Yeah.
because some people like the connection and the field that is being entered is ooh. It's like, ooh. It's completely otherworldly
Yeah.
and a very, very high vibration. These may be people that don't even realize that they have that connection. First time, second time that they're even doing it. But and other people, it's just very gentle and grounding and
Peaceful. Yeah.
peaceful and
Stress relief.
uh, different information, very gentle
Yeah.
information. The messages that are coming through are just softer and, you know, full of grace, for who they are.
Mhm.
And I think I mentioned to you when chatting previously, there was one client, and he's come many times. The connection was like immediately. I'm seeing these figures. They look like the old-fashioned scuba divers and the big
Mhm.
astronaut suits, and I think, oh, who are you? And they were saying, sky beings, and it was as if they were having a conversation with him.
Mm.
Remember, remember,
Yeah.
you're like one of us. You're
Yeah.
sky being, like we're here with you. We've always been like monitoring you, keeping an
Mhm.
eye on you. And then very ancient, like I'll use the term Aboriginal, but it was not. It was like the Earth Keepers, like the
Yes.
original Earth Keepers. And they came in and they're like, yes, yes, like, don't you remember? You're on the rocks. You're on the rocks, like where they
Yeah.
had drawn them
Yeah.
on the rocks. I hadn't really ever heard of sky beings, and my client hadn't, but it was just like, come on, come on. Remember, remember, you
Mhm.
know who you are. Remember. It was
Yeah.
so beautiful and so powerful. And later on, we're Googling, and there are sky beings on Google
Mhm. Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
down, and their image on the rock was exactly what I had seen. And they had such a strong connection with the Aboriginals,
Mm.
um, people of the earth. So it's just layers and layers and layers. And each time you're going a little bit deeper, or maybe a
Mhm.
different piece where there
Yeah.
had been
Yeah.
trauma,
Mhm.
or forgetting who you are. But the messages are always so beautiful. Divine Earth Mother, Gaia, many names. Um, she may come in different images or different names as we're bringing the roots down into the earth. It's just, for me, it's just fascinating. I get so much joy and excitement over doing it. Like, "Ooh, who's going to come in next? Like, what's the message going to be
Yeah.
today for the
Yeah.
person?" But it's always you're loved. No one is judging you.
Mhm.
You're judging yourself. Like,
Mhm.
why? Why are you
Mhm.
judging yourself? There's no need to be. You're
Right.
just here, like
Yeah.
learning,
Yeah.
and you are love yourself. Like you are love. You hold love. You were created with love. Um, and it's just so beautiful because sometimes there are those, well, many times they say, we speak as one, but we are many. And then
Mhm.
you'll feel that consciousness. I get the flower of life. I get the Elohim, the cosmic heart. It's
Mm.
just, I mean, how could you not love what we do? But
Yeah.
it's been so powerful for myself because I think even as Barbie had said, yesterday in our conversation, getting ready for the expo, when you make that realization that you're supported, you're
Mhm.
you're not alone, you've got a whole,
Right.
it's just the vastness of who you are, but
Yeah.
legions of,
The
I'm
fingertips.
getting chills now, of those supporting you.
Yeah.
You just feel better.
Oh,
You just feel
absolutely.
better. You
Yeah.
start to have that sense of peace and just like laughter in
Mhm.
your heart. And we've had that conversation as well. Many times they come in, and during the session, they're just like laughing. They're
Mhm.
giggling. There's been times I'm like rolling in laughter. I'm like, oh boy, like this.
I know. I know.
I will say later, this person who was in person goes, "Oh, I never heard you laugh so hard during a session." But you'll be brought to tears other times because
Yeah.
the overwhelming
Love.
clearing sometimes
Mhm.
of grief or trauma, and it's being cleared. Like you're making
Mm.
those pieces of you to come back and know that
Mm.
they're safe. There's not a judgment. They're loved, and it's just so beautiful and so powerful and really just so simple.
Yeah,
It's
it really
simple,
is.
you
Well,
know.
in the very beginning in 2020, before the course was built, AQE, Acasma Quantum Energy, I was just doing the sessions for people as clients. And I remember I've said it before in other places, but the beings that you're speaking of, they're always according to the client's spiritual connection points and
Right,
lineages and so forth. But it wouldn't matter what group, what beings, what collective, or whatever was showing up for what client. They were all saying the same thing. And they were saying humans need to get out of their heads and into their
right.
hearts. And I hear that when you say it's so simple, you know, and
Simple.
we make it more complicated with all of these kind of older cycled programs that
Right,
separate the self out from the divine that is within. And then when we allow the reconnection of that, yeah, that essence, you know, uh, yeah, all of that energy starts to be able to flow in, you know. And so that's what we do with a cosmic quantum energy. And that's what Deborah's so beautifully expressing here with her uh, yeah, own experience as feeling as if she's levitating even when she's facilitating the space, you know, ha ha ha, laughing with joy, acknowledging the movement of denser energies as in grief and so forth, flowing as they're moving and shifting and alchemizing with the presence of that I am flooding in. That's what, you know, is happening, right? And then there's the trans channel, the understanding of the vibrational shift of the being of the facilitator through a cosmic consciousness as it's holding that alignment of cosmic flow, ha, to connect with the client. It is a shift of the vibration to move in through the field to find the client and then be able to work with them. And what does that mean? All that are working with them, you know? So everything that Deborah's describing to you is an incredible view into quantum energy work and particularly Acasma for what we do here. So you're on the expo team. You mentioned our expo meeting. We just had one yesterday. And we've done it one time, right? We did it 2024 Los Angeles Conscious Life Expo at the LAX Hilton, and I had a blast. I had a blast. It was phenomenal. And now we're going back. We're going to go back in 2025. It's February 7th through 9th. So if anybody's interested in the Conscious Life Expo experience and or Cosmic Quantum Energy and what we offer, we'll be at booth 86 in the International Ballroom. And we're going to have a beautiful workshop on Friday at 12 p.m. and a beautiful lecture space. They call it that, but it's not really what we do, but that's okay. Activation space on Saturday as well at 9 a.m. And there's a panel that I'll be speaking on Saturday evening at 5. But Deborah, will you give us some insight into what it was like to be and is like to be on the Acasma Expo team? And what do we do? What are we talking
yeah.
about?
Oh, it's just so much fun. It's I for years had been trying to get to the expo
Oh my
just to
God.
be partake in it because you have so many people there
Mm-hmm.
that have insights into the ascension process and everything that we as humans and the earth is going through right now. And again, there's so many people. The message is generally always the same, but different
Variation.
information, different
Yeah.
variations of it. So it was so thrilling to be able to go, but to be part of the team and and to be part of doing something that I truly
Mm.
believe in.
Yeah.
Um, and that can really bring profound change to someone's life and
Yes.
give them that sense of peace and healing and trust
Yeah.
that they're supported. But it was so much fun to meet people
Mm-hmm.
in person.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really just like we were all family members.
Mhm.
There was a truly like an instant connection very quickly. Um, it was just so much fun. And you're working it, in a space that, the whole place, it's a very high vibration. There's no windows.
Yeah.
um,
It's a huge ballroom,
it's a
huge ballroom.
huge ballroom. Um, and to some people it might be perceived as noisy, like you have that
Oh yeah, I get
sound.
you. 10,000 people going
Yes.
through on the
But
weekend. Yeah.
when people would come over to the booth and we had a chance to talk to them about what Acasma is. And, oh, don't you want to try it? Sit down. Let's facilitate something. Everybody, everybody had such profound effects where they would be crying. They knew nothing at all about Acasma.
Yeah.
They had never even heard of it. How could they know? When you offer so much. But, y- you know, they would sit down, we'd facilitate session, very different than what I think the, how the majority of us might do it in real life. A lot of people do it the consciousness to
Mhm,
consciousness.
mhm.
And as I said, generally, I'd say about 90% of my clients are in person. And then I have um, other people that do the consciousness to consciousness, but very different, and I'm used to really, you know, moving.
Yeah.
But it was magical. You didn't, as you engaged with the person's team and energy, you were just in a vacuum of
Yeah.
energy. You might hear a little bit of diversion around,
It's like
but it didn't
distant.
affect
Yeah.
the session at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Um, and people really, truly had profound experiences.
Mm.
Um, and they would go and they would get a friend or a family member, bring them back, which was wonderful. It
Yes.
was
The
just
biggest compliment,
wonderful. Yes,
bringing somebody
yes.
back. Yeah.
And I can remember a gentleman who was a little timid about doing it. He
Mm,
never had energy work done before.
mm.
And I facilitated his session, and he had tears
Oh, wow.
afterwards. It was really beautiful.
Mm,
And then every day, like just roaming around, because we would go and take little breaks and maybe see a speaker or something. But every time he saw me,
mm.
he would come over to me and hug me. And
Oh,
really, it was just that type of hug,
mm. Yeah.
like, thank you.
Yeah.
It was
Wow.
really beautiful. So as if our souls were connecting,
Yes.
we had that
Reconnecting
honor
probably as well.
and
Yeah.
that privilege, such an
Yeah.
honor and privilege to do this work. And I don't even like to use the word
Work.
work
But
because it
yeah.
always has a negative connotation.
But
But
we're giving it a new connotation,
we're giving it
right?
a new connotation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, it's just really amazing. Amazing. And it was just so much fun to form stronger bonds with people that you had just met through Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and, to see the other speakers here and there when we had our downtime. It was just so much fun. It was so much fun. And to meet you in person, the first time. Um, that was an honor because I remember I came in on
I
Wednesday.
do. I
I was
remember.
coming in from the East Coast and I didn't want to have jet lag. I wanted to acclimate myself. And I just remember I'm hanging out in the lobby and it's very busy. And then I saw you walk by and I was like, oh, I think that's Andrea.
I know that was a beautiful moment because we had
Yeah.
had many spaces on Zooms or,
Yeah.
but to be in person with someone, it's another level. And, when you're working internationally, like we work where we have clients in other
Right.
states or countries or whatever it is, these moments of person to person, they're just so, so sacred, so beautiful. It was really like a reconnection space as well for my being when I saw you. I just knew it wasn't the first time.
Right. I know.
So, yeah, I remember a really cool part for me as well was we had a lot of the team had become master teachers. So you guys had taken my Acasma master teacher course, and then some had had the opportunity to receive a shawl from me that I love to pass on, like the passing of the mantle, but not everybody had. So I brought shawls out there. Do you remember when we did that ceremony
Yes.
space? Oh,
Yes.
I
It
loved
was
that
beautiful.
space. I
It was
loved that.
beautiful because again, it was as if our souls were connecting. Like my energetic field
Mm.
blended with your energetic field, and each one of us that was receiving the passing of the mantle. If um, it was honestly a very sacred space,
Mm.
um, as if we were back into, the sacred schools,
Yes, no, I thought of that as
mystery
well.
schools
Like the
of the
Order of the
past,
Rose and
Order of
like,
the Rose. Right,
yes,
right.
yes.
Um, yeah,
My whole body's lighting up right now as we're
yeah,
saying this, like my
yeah,
legs and
yeah.
everything. Yeah.
And you know, there were secret societies
Mm.
because of fear of persecution.
Yes, yes.
Um, and now there's been such a shift, I'm sure just in the timeline of your life. I know the timeline of my life, and I've seen it just in the past year or two where, you know, we're not afraid to speak out
Yeah,
about what we do, who we are, um, and we're not making it be secret anymore.
right.
It's
No.
everybody is
Yes.
has that divinity within them.
Hmm.
So it's not just the secret orders holding
Hmm.
on to that knowledge, the books, the wisdom, the wisdom keepers. But now we're able to, with the shift in the consciousness of the planet, to come out with the wisdom, with the knowledge. And I think that's why you got that download
Mm.
about Acasma. People are getting the downloads coming into them because those energetic keys, they're just being unlocked.
Yeah, they have
And
a space that can,
yes,
yeah.
and we hold that those tablets of knowledge within our hearts.
Hmm.
And now as
Mm.
the consciousness of the planet is reaching those points where it
Hmm.
can come out and be
Mm.
shared with everyone. And, I'm sure there's still time to time that people don't understand or
Mm.
feel that it goes against the false dogma that they've learned throughout life.
Mm. Hmm.
Um, but it's breaking away, which is just so
Hmm.
beautiful. Um, so it's really wonderful. It really was a very sacred um, connection that was being made with that
Yes.
ceremony. And it was like, and we blessed the space.
Hmm.
We had the blessing of our space.
I asked you guys to bless
Yeah,
me. I sat in the
yeah,
middle and I asked you
yeah,
guys to bless and pray, pray over me in a sense to just,
yeah, yeah.
we
Because you
would,
were entering into a new space. It
oh
was
yeah,
your first
yeah.
um, expo, your first time there.
And I knew that workshop on Friday at noon. It was the first, opening spaces. So anybody who was doing a workshop or a class space like that on Friday at noon, those were the openers. And I just knew in my being, yeah, the vibrational alignment we would be engaging. Yeah, and anchoring with going to be a level we had never been in these human forms. And like the space itself, the building itself, the room we were going to be in, the booth, our bodies, our minds, everything. And I just had a really quick vision of me and you and the other team members that were there I saw you all around me, and then I saw like the beings behind you that are being with each of you have your own, and then we have our team that goes with the work we do as well with Acasma. But I could see you all. I was there, and then I could see you guys, and then I could see this team around you. But then it was like you were saying the word, I think you said legions or something earlier, right? So then it was like you can't even count
Legion.
them. You
Yeah.
can't even count them.
Yeah.
And they just go out and out and out and out and out. And as they go out, they kind of have this stadium type rise to them in this the way they're positioned. But I understand it's also to give you a visual, to give us a visual of yeah, higher vibrational fields as they go or something like that, or dimensional connections as they go. But when you guys were doing that, yeah, I knew that it would have a direct impact on the ability of us to anchor it, to
Yeah.
be that space, that opening workshop space. And, there was an earthquake right afterwards, after the class space or the workshop space. A lot of people thought that was kind of interesting. And then also, there was a lot of feedback, which I loved. So you were there as well, I believe, at the workshop. And afterwards, people were coming. That one woman came, lovely woman. She's going to be there again this year, or 2025. So we'll see her again, I hope. But she came and gave her feedback on Mike because I asked her to, because it was wonderful. She was a seer and she could, share her sight. And then there were some other people that came up afterwards and shared as well. But I'd love to talk on this if you are good with it. So, yeah, I think you and I have had similar visions on this, but we have the vantage point with the little variation point that offers more information if we share. But I knew that when I was on that stage, on that mic, and those people were there, and my team was there, and and the people that came, they didn't even know what they were coming for.
No, no, they
They really
didn't.
didn't, because nobody really knew who we were or what I did or what the work was or the book was or anything is so new. But they trusted. Ha ha! There's a
Mhm.
lot of power there. They trusted and they showed up. And I saw in my inner knowing as if, like, this space that we see as the space around us, like that my hand's moving through right now, I saw as if it kind of split. It just looked like there was this kind of split going on in the air, but no, I don't know that other people could see it with their physical eyes. I thought it was only us seeing it with our, you know, inner sight. But the split happened, and then all of a sudden it opened, and then it was like we were connecting with a higher dimensional space. And these beings, which they've come to destination events we've done before, which you've done with me as well, they're so incredibly glorious and loving.
Yeah.
They're just so, intoxicating would be a great word. It really would, okay? Yeah. So I see them and I feel them start to come through this split in
Yeah.
space or whatever. And they were
We
just
opened
filling.
up a portal.
Okay, yeah, they were filling the room. They were filling the space. And I also understood, yeah, there was something going on like above the building, but another space of existence above the building besides the physical air above the building. It's really hard to explain this because it has levels of science and it has levels of spiritual. And we're doing our best to utilize words we use in human language, uh, yeah, to explain something that we're still finding the words for.
Right.
But I understood there was a connective point above the building itself, the LAX Hilton, and it's still there. It's been running ever since we showed up and did the space. Are we the only ones assisting this? No. Are there others on the planet doing this and in the building as well? Yes. But we are, and I have said from the very beginning, we are a part of a coalition, yeah, of higher dimensional beings, and there are many, many identification points that could be named. They do not like us to name them
They
because
don't.
we limit it. We get stuck. I taught on this in the new human class this morning. We get kind of not stuck, but we spend a little too much energy and engagement in a certain area of specific identification. And we're moving too rapidly right now. 10 years ago, absolutely. Stay all you want in that alignment and learn all you can of that one space of understanding. Now we're moving so rapidly. Everybody's like, all the beings, all the higher dimensional beings, this is my own interpretation. I want yours as well. But they're all like kind of saying, just put your shoes on, just put your hat on and keep moving. Like we don't have time. Like you're in too much of a rapid expansion of consciousness for these specific past life spaces or other soul spaces or lineages or connection points. You can absolutely 100% love them, respect them, and connect in and allow. Absolutely, that's what we're doing. We're just not staying in any one particular spot because we're in motion. And so that space there at the LAX Hilton for the Conscious Life Expo that we did in 24, now I have this understanding that we're going to do again in 25, but it's going to move at an even faster rate. It's going to be even bigger. It's going to move at even greater flow because we've laid the groundwork. Yeah, we set the foundation and we dialed in the frequency. Yeah. So now when we show up, all that's done. So we bless the space and we just keep moving. So so you had some visuals on this as well.
Yes, I did. Um, I felt immediately that it was going to be an amazing experience and that it would be life-changing, not just for us, but for other people attending, that it was going to create a tremendous momentum
Mm,
of energy ascending, opening up the doors, the remembrance, knowledge coming in for people. I had seen almost like a dome of energy being around the expo with pillars of light coming in, but also like a whole city, like a crystal city above, spaceship, galactic convergence, however you want to see it. Um, but it was being opened up.
mm,
Like there was that connection being made, or they were allowing the connection to be made for that shift. And I know it's happening many, many places around the
mhm,
world. Um, I'm sure it's happening over your home, your sanctuary. I know it's happening over my healing center
mhm,
that
mhm,
I'm a part of. Um, but it's almost like a force field in a
mhm,
sense.
mhm,
Um, so there's a lot of protection around it,
mhm.
but it's that communication. And I kept thinking all last year, oh, I bet there's a lot of interdimensional beings here.
Mm.
And they're taking a human form right now
Yeah,
to
yeah,
kind
I
of
was
navigate. Ooh, what's going on? Okay.
yeah,
Um, how's the vibration shifting? Like I
right. They're
really felt that.
monitoring. Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like they're
And Holly,
monitoring and
yeah, Holly and I, who um, is another beautiful person who shared the Acasma um, booth and teachings and sessions. Um, she and I would kind of be like, you know, do you think that person is?
yeah, yeah,
Because you could just feel like there were so many
yeah.
people
Mhm,
there. It was just wonderful. And you know that there probably was and is
mhm,
because they walk amongst us. Um,
mhm. Yes,
and
well,
they're
and we also teach and believe
great,
that those that find resonance with the cosmic quantum energy and
right?
really move into these spaces of either living it in their own lives or facilitating it and or teaching it, that we're higher dimensional beings and we're in human formats and we came to walk amongst and to bring this
Yeah.
space of consciousness in through ourselves and our own lives. Yeah. And then it goes out to our families and our friends, our worlds, everybody's own individual spaces, but then it also can be facilitated and taught, yeah, to those that are ready to then step into that
Yeah.
themselves. And you know that you know you have students and you have clients and you have people come in and out like you do in any space, and you can tell, just like walking around the expo, you can tell the ones that come in, and yeah, they are a higher, yeah, dimensional being inside that vessel, becoming that student or becoming that, you know, client or whatever it is, and how they're connecting in with a cosmic quantum energy. But a cosmic quantum energy, they're drawn to it because of that, because it's an activation point of that higher dimensional self coming back into play. It's like when you said in the beginning about your client, where those beautiful beings were saying, remember, remember why you're here, or remember who you are, or, you know, all of the above. Acasma's doing that. A cosmic quantum energy, when we do a session for a client, it's doing that. That's why it was doing that,
But
right?
yeah,
And then if you're, you know, learning as a student to be this space, yeah, same thing. Uh, yeah, yeah, and those that are coming in and that are drawn to it, but for whatever reason decide it's a not yet, because that happens and that's okay.
mhm, and
It doesn't mean they're not a higher dimensional being. That's very important for everyone to hear. It just means they're still deciding when and how they find that path again for themselves. And Akasma will bring as much as they are ready. I know the laugh's new. I'm so sorry. But like we said earlier, it's this great amount of joy. Okay. Akasma will bring as much and that the person is ready for at the time. And then if they need a break and they got to go do something else and then they come back, we've had that before with students and clients. Yeah. And they just come right back in, and the door's here and it's open. And then, you know, it's always meeting them right where
yeah,
they're at.
yeah. And that is so important because so often, and I know even myself, um, we felt different. We felt sometimes alone,
Mm,
unsupported,
very much.
um,
Yeah.
and many times unloved, or we were told
Unheard.
you're not
Yeah.
worthy.
Unwanted.
Um,
Yeah.
Filling people, so many people have been filled with shame, um,
Hmm.
shame and doubt about themselves.
Hmm.
And I think sometimes just with the Acasma, they're learning or hearing and feeling you're not alone. You're
Right.
home. You're
Yeah.
home.
Yeah. You
Because
are
many of us
loved.
have been
Yeah.
homesick, not knowing for what. But
That's it.
truly,
Yeah.
where our being is home.
Yes.
We're just in a human form, but we're here. We are
E-
source energy.
Eternal
So we really
consciousness.
are
Yeah.
home.
Right.
Um, and that might be a few steps until somebody who's completely
Able to
new
feel
to
it.
this
Yeah. Yeah.
begins to understand that. But they'll get that sense of belonging. I've been very blessed. I'm I have a community where I live. It's just we all comment on it. But there are many of us, many energy healers,
Mm.
um, many teachers in the area that I live in. It's easy to find somebody to do healing work, but other people don't have that
Mm-hmm.
at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
They're still scared to say, "Ooh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going for energy work,"
Mm-hmm.
or "How do I find somebody to do it?" I'm curious. Um, so through your group, through the Cosmic group that you've created, you have so many. groups that they can
Mm.
become a part of
Yeah,
and
community.
and a
Yeah.
community,
Hmm. It does
which is
matter. You're
wonderful
right.
for
Yeah.
them. And that
It,
does matter because they can, it's like a sounding board. That's a safe
mm,
place for them to share experiences that they're having or questions without judgment. So
mm,
it's a wonderful place for, I don't want to use I'll use the term beginners, but people
mm.
new,
Yeah,
to-
right. Or even new to trusting yourself.
right, new to trusting
New to
yourself.
trusting others. That's a big
Yeah,
one. You say, "Oh, I
right,
trust me all day long. Oh, I
right,
know me all day long."
right.
But maybe you're not used to having a space where you have others you can connect with, you
Yes,
know?
yes.
So,
They've had that fear,
yeah.
but somebody else who's coming in with maybe more knowledge or um, have more access to certain books or teachings or energy work, they're familiar with it. The classes are always evolving, so they meet somebody very new to it, but there's also a greater depth that other people that do have knowledge can understand, and it facilitates further heightening maybe of your own gifts or abilities or understandings of the universe at large, what we
Yeah.
are.
No,
Um,
it
so it's just it's beautiful that they're meeting everybody right where they are.
so the community will just let anybody know in case they found this and they're like, this resonates completely. I love everything these ladies are talking about. We love to talk about it, so we're grateful you're here to listen. But we have that community, the Acasma Planet of Light and Healing Grid community, the Acasma Pods of Light. And so if this resonates for you, you can go to the website sacredexpansion.com. There's a sign up button right on the homepage. It says join the community. But we meet once a month on Zoom for the grid space. And that's like a self space because you receive your own blessing and reset alignment once a month. And then to assist because you are here doing all of this that we're talking about, you know? And then we move into the group connective point of being the grid, which we have been doing for 5 years as of the making of this video. We have our celebration next week. So 5 years, we have not missed one grid space Zoom call. We have them the last Saturday of every month, and we haven't missed any of them. So how cool is that? That's a lot of dedication that I'm very grateful for. We built the grid by I got the understanding we needed to build it, and I found 26 people that agreed with me. And we built it. And now we have hundreds of people that come in and be a part of it in the call. And then we have even more than that watch the replay on YouTube and that understand, all of us understand that we're the grid of light, the Acosma grid of light. We're emanating these I am remembrances and reconnection spaces we're talking about by how we live our lives. We bless that grid once a month on Zoom, but the way we talk to each other, to ourselves, to our everyday life spaces, the way we look at those spaces, the way we interact with those spaces, the way we breathe, the way we hold our beings, all of that is emanating, this higher space of consciousness that we are, and then making it available to the human collective and to assist the ascension process. So if it resonates with you and you'd like to join us in this community space that we've been speaking of, just reach out and you'll get an email with a link and a little letter and you can join us. It's a really, like we say, it meets everybody right where they're at, and it's really user friendly. For the Zoom call, you don't have to have a camera on if you don't want. Some people, it's just their name on the screen, and it's more comfortable for them that way. And then some people, they want the camera on. We don't care. When we talk about light beings and how they don't judge, Deborah, you mentioned that earlier. The teams of light that surround us and walk with us, they don't judge us. Nobody's judging anybody except the being in the self form, creating it from a
And
program.
and you know what, Andrea? So often they're like, oh, I'll just hear them laughing,
Mm.
and they're just like, "You silly humans."
Right.
Silly humans.
Yeah, just let go a little bit. Just
Silly.
release that a little bit. Yeah.
And yeah, it's just it's so funny because like they're not judging and they're kind
No.
of probably nudging each other. There she goes again.
Right.
They're so
Yeah.
silly because we worry so much about so many things that really
They're
don't.
so fleeting.
They're
They're
so
not, they
fleeting. It
don't,
doesn't
they,
really matter in the long
yeah.
run.
They're, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I know that can kind of be offensive to someone who's dealing with something that feels very big and daunting
Mhm.
and difficult. And we're not belittling what anyone is dealing with. We're just allowing the opportunity for the remembrance of this too shall pass.
Yes. Yeah.
And that this too shall pass, even when it doesn't feel like it's going anywhere or it's been here too long already or whatever. But if you can maintain, even for a moment, the vibration, the feeling, the imagination of this too shall pass. What will it feel like if it passes? Like be outside of it, be on the other side of it
Mhm.
for just a moment. Universe has the opportunity, God has the opportunity, your team of light has the opportunity, you have the opportunity to then move into that space where you are past the difficulty. Okay, so that's why we say it that way. We're not trying to belittle anybody's belief structure and what they're dealing with, but wherever you place that focus, there's going to be an amplification of that energy. So if you can redirect your focus to beyond where it's at, the beyond can come and the at can shift. And I just did a video on this morning. So um, I actually did an exercise in my car that I learned years ago when I went to a Joe Dispenza progressive workshop thing or something. It was fantastic. I loved it so much. He's awesome. If you don't already know who he is, go research him, look him up, Joe Dispenza. But I shared a YouTube video just this morning on the channel. I'm sitting in my car, and it was all about this technique, this understanding, and the direction of the energy of where you place your focus, of what you think about and speak about and feel, and how universe doesn't read your post-it that says I'm wealthy. It reads your vibration that emanates I'm wealthy. And people say, oh, well, what am I supposed to lie? Well, you're supposed to get really good at self mastery and choosing what energy you're focusing on. So there's a little exercise in that video. It's very powerful, and it's how a big part of how my life just blew wide open into freedom, 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 freedom in all areas of my life. So, anyways, you can check that video out as well. Go to the website, think about joining the community in the grid if this aligns for you. The one thing that we do make quite clear is we do Acasma quantum energy. So we love everybody from all the different modalities that are on this planet. And if you're open to learning a new modality and being aware of a new modality, that's what we do in the community we offer. We do Acasma quantum energy, and we're the only place on the planet doing it. So that's why we have to be very specific because it needs a space to land, and we're creating that space. So, Deborah, are you excited for Los Angeles in 2025?
Oh, I'm very excited. I'm very excited. Hotel, plane, everything's booked. Coming in on Wednesday again. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, it's exciting because it's like know it's going to be even more
Mhm.
than it was
And
last
it
year. I can
and it was
feel it.
already amazing,
It's
right? So you're
already
just like,
amazing.
what?
Yes. So there is that in anticipation, that excitement building. Because I knew for myself, I felt before I went last year, certain things that I do, I'll say, oh, I have a feeling like it's going to be life changing. It's going to create a shift.
Mm-hmm.
And our booth 86 numerologically is 5, which is
Yes,
change.
change.
Yeah.
I know. I
So
when she said, and that was the last booth they had. That was a double because we need a double because we need a big
yes.
space. So it's like a 15-foot area. It's really nice. Come see us and have a session. But it was the last double she had available. And it was really interesting, the whole process of finding it and everything, because I never even heard of the space, the event. And then something said, search it online, go search expos online. And it was like, I don't know, late July or August. And I was just like, okay. So I start searching, and next thing you know, I'm signing up
Mhm.
And then I knew there would to be a team. I
Yeah.
knew it. Like it was so cool. It's just like the grid. When I saw the grid, I just knew there was a team and I knew that this team would materialize. Like you guys would come forth and I just saw it. And so then I just made the emails and started writing you guys. And I think everybody I asked right off the bat, but one person said yes. And
Yeah.
I actually knew the one person probably wouldn't say yes, but I knew because of the way the group was built, I needed to at least allow them the ability to say no. I needed them to be invited and then they could make the decision. But I already kind of knew who was going to be there and who said yes. So it was really, really cool to watch
Yeah.
that unfold.
And it's amazing because I got the email while I was in the south of France doing my um, high priestess training of the Blue Rose.
I love it.
And you were talking about the caves of Mary Magdalene this
Yes,
morning, and I'm
yes,
thinking, I was
yes.
in those caves.
Wow, yeah, that
And
was
yeah, so such an auspicious
mm,
and connection of having that be the time that I found that I
yes. And
yeah,
then
and
I'm
found
just
out.
I'm just thinking too of the you've already said it, but I want to say it again. When we did the ceremony at the booth, because we had a little bit of time and I wanted to utilize us being together, and I passed the mantle.
Yeah.
And you said that was similar to the secret societal, like, these
Pretty
teaching,
cool.
these,
Yeah.
yeah, mystery schools. And that's a connection point for the Order of the Rose as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, so that's fascinating. And you were in that alignment in a sense in when you received the invitation. So that's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So that, yeah, it just felt
There's so
extra
many
special.
messages
So
there.
many messages, extra special. Yeah. I, and then I wonder, oh, is there like a dragon ley line or something with that
Oh yeah. Yeah.
connections of
Yeah.
all of these different spaces? I'm sure there is.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah.
oh, it's wonderful. I'm so excited because again, I know it's going to be a life-changing experience. It's just going to be like a whole for myself. And I know each one of us as facilitators there, it's like turning the knob again.
Mm-hmm.
But we're helping
Yeah.
everybody who has that opportunity to learn about it or to
Yeah.
experience it
Have their own activation
of their
moment, have
own
their own
activation.
remembrance, reconnection moment. Yeah. Um, No, it's a win-win for sure. And I just checking my time because I gotta be on another space in a second, but it's 3:33 when I just checked it. Isn't that so
There you
cool?
go.
That's so cool. Um, all right. So yeah, yeah, thank you to everybody who watched this and joined us in this space. If you guys have any questions about the community or Cosmic Quantum Energy, about getting a session or learning how to facilitate, or about the LA Expo or whatever, Debra has a beautiful website. I'm going to put the link right below this video in my description here on YouTube, and you can check her out and all that she offers. There's also a link to her on my website because she's the Acasma Expo team. So there's a picture of her and a little bio about her. And if you click on the picture, it takes you to her as well. But we would love to connect with you.
Yeah,
If this interests you, if this resonates for you, if you have some questions, comments, or feedback you'd love to share, we would love to connect with you. So if whether it's myself or Debra, we're here and we get to be this. So we're super
yeah.
excited about that.
And you know what? To anybody who's listening, watching this, just try it.
That's what, yeah, the
Try it.
experience
Whether
is,
it's watching one of your magnificent YouTube videos, um, just try it.
yeah.
Because I first saw you on Instagram, um, back in, I don't know, late 2019 or 2020. And I thought, oh, like it resonated with me. I'm curious about this. But it truly for it can open that door to such powerful change for you, um, and peace. It can really bring in tremendous peace
Yeah.
into your life. It's
That's a
just
good point. Try
amazing.
it. Try it.
Try
Because
it.
it is a big space to
Be
convey.
curious.
And we've
Be
done a lot of
curious.
good conveyance, but it's a whole nother level to experience it. And that's why we give away the sessions at the expo. They're 10 to 15 minutes. They're incredibly powerful. They're so efficient, and so fast, and so profound because it's that higher dimensional energy work. But we gift them so people can experience it. They can just try it.
Yeah.
And everybody has these profound
Yeah.
experiences. So that was good advice. Thank you for sharing that. And
And it's
thank,
just as powerful in the quantum field as it is in person.
yeah, you cannot say, oh, it's a video. That means it's not as much. Or, oh, it's a C to C, consciousness to consciousness, remote distance, or it's not as much. It, people think they have to have it in person.
Yeah.
There's no difference. There's no difference. The energy doesn't know space, time, location. It just is. And
That's
so,
it.
however it's connected with, that's the flow of the divine, period.
Yeah. And remember that you are loved. You
Yes.
are loved so profoundly.
Yes.
You really are. And
Constantly 24/7.
constantly, you are loved
Mm.
by legions.
Yes. Yes.
It's so beautiful. It is so beautiful when you make that recognition and understanding.
Just be open
Yeah.
to it. Be open to be curious about it, right?
Curious.
Just get curious about that space. Even if you already know you're loved, if you allow a little curiosity, it'll open it up even more? So that's beautiful. That's beautiful. All right, Deborah, we're going to have to do this again
I
sometime. I
know.
always love our
So much
spaces
fun.
together. Oh, they're so nice. They're
I
so
know. I love
wonderful.
chatting.
I love it. All right. So, we'll put this out to everybody, but we'll go ahead and say a blessing of love on everyone, just allowing peace that passes all understanding to keep the heart and the mind in the alignment of the I am. Yes, that you are. Blessings upon you all. Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you.
Mwah, mwah.
See you in LA.
See you in LA. All right. Bye bye.
I love you.
I love you. I love you.